Alexey Muraviev, who is an associate professor of national security and strategic studies at Curtin University. He joins us now live from Perth in Australia. Thank you very much, Professor, for joining us here on TRT World. Now, if the threat of a Russian invasion is as imminent as the US says it is, then why is Kiev downplaying the threat?
Well, I mean, the fact that the Ukrainian officials are not really aligning their commentary with the one coming from Washington perhaps suggests that the Russians at this stage either don't display the intent of invading or perhaps not even gearing up for an invasion. And I think that in itself actually increases the narrative that the Russians were actively promoting all of this time, saying they have no plans. And I'm not suggesting that what the Russians are saying is true, but I think the rhetoric coming from Washington kind of really caught the Americans, or sort of trapped the Americans in their own narrative, because they've been quite definitive about the line that Russia is poised for invasion, it's about to invade, as Bloomberg made a type a few days ago when effectively created this world airline saying Russia has actually invaded Ukraine, and then retrieved the statement and apologized for that. Really kind of created this booby trap for Washington, because the US officials cannot really now come out and say we were wrong in our estimates, because that would certainly undermine their credibility. So there is growing discontent about the rhetoric coming from Washington, which they're compelled to continue to pursue, and certainly the one that's coming from Kiev, which actually challenges the official position of the United States.
Okay, now, Professor, if I'm not mistaken, this is what you mean to say. It's highly likely for the United States to keep issuing these threats.
Well, I don't think that the United States have much of a choice right now but to continue with their line, because they effectively been selling to their allies and partners this narrative that they're absolutely confident Russia will invade Ukraine, and the discussion about consequences for Russia, the introduction of new sanctions, NATO's possible reaction to Ukraine was all part of it. So for them to turn around and start saying now we were perhaps over-optimistic about our scenarios right now would probably be something that the United States can afford to do, especially after the fiasco they have suffered in Afghanistan mid last year.
Now, before I let you go, Professor, this is what I wonder at this point. Could this possibly be an indication that Kiev does not welcome Washington's involvement in the conflict anymore?
No, I think that the Ukrainians really want Washington help and want Washington assistance and Washington's money. But I think the officials in Kiev began realizing that this perfect media storm, the way how I described it about Russia is about to invade Ukraine anytime now, is doing a lot of damage to Ukraine, to Ukrainian economy, to the morale and credibility of its government. So I think the message from Kiev is stop pressuring us, stop telling us that we're about to fight and we're about to be invaded by the Russians, because we are suffering as a result of that. We're not winning anything. But obviously, this is not to say that Ukrainians don't want Washington's involvement. I think it's a bit of a conflict when they try to tell the Americans don't overexploit the Russia card, right, but at the same time they cannot really say no to them at the same time.
All right, Professor Alexey Muraviev, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World.